because I was on this whole journey of fixing myself. I thought I had to fix myself.
Right.
I was implying that there was something wrong with me.
Right.
So then I was like, oh, I got to fix. So I've been trying to fix and change myself my whole life. My account has
surpassed.
Yes.
Why did you struggle to say that? Like, it's fine. Life flex. We can flex here. Okay, this is love and cash flow.
We're doing 401ks and stability. And then literally 7 months in, I'm like, panic attack. A lot of my drive was rooted in wanting to be enough. If you would have met me a couple years ago, you'd been like, where's she going? I was on a mission, but the mission was actually rooted in wanting to be seen. But that's how I got through it all. Staying true to highlighting businesses who do an exceptional job at their craft.
People that take your advice and actually trust you enough to go spend their hard-earned money in these restaurants that you're recommending, that they actually do receive the quality that you're actually showcasing. A guy asks you out, like, because your expectations are over here. Like, how do you even
listen?
Welcome to another episode of Love and Cash Flow. Today we are joined by none other than Miranda Mounts, the creative force behind the culinary sensation Where to Eat Charlotte. What started as a simple Instagram page to share her food adventures has transformed Miranda's love for Charlotte's dining scene into a thriving business, amassing over 145,000 followers since 2018. Beyond her digital success, Miranda is deeply committed to her personal growth, embodying the essence of health, wellness, and self-discovery. From the courts of women's volleyball to the serene walks in nature, Miranda's journey is a testament of the power of passion and perseverance. Miranda, welcome to the Love and Cash Flow podcast.
Did you write that?
Yes, sure did.
Oh my
sure
gosh.
did. I may or may not have had some help from ChatGPT. But that's between you and me.
They did great. They did great.
They did so good, right?
That's so great.
The power of AI.
Yeah.
Do you use AI at all?
Not at this time.
You should. I mean, to script your stuff and all that.
For sure.
Add some details about each restaurant and all that stuff.
It's coming.
But I'm so pleased to have you. I've been consuming your content since I moved to Charlotte. And that's already, it's going to be 6 months. 6 years.
6 months.
6 months. 6 years
That's
since we moved.
We got some new followers of the platform, new community members. I don't say followers, I say community members.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. They feel like it's a part of something.
They definitely.
How important is that to you? Making people feel that they are part of a community versus just a follower.
It's so important to me. I subconsciously built the platform for a sense of family. Subconsciously. Didn't know it at the time.
Right.
But that's why I was building it, to have that really all-encompassing family community. And then I realized, I was like, wow, they've been my people for, since I started. So it means so much to me. That's why I don't say followers, I say community members. Every time somebody reposts something, I say thank you for being a part of the Where to Eat Charlotte community. Yeah. Even though it's a virtual community at this time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, because what? Are you hinting at
something? We'll see. We'll see. Maybe some in-person stuff. I mean, in-person's where the flow is,
100%. We were talking about this off camera, how in-person podcast is so much more different than doing it virtually. So I completely agree. You can't take away the element of, that having that personal interaction with one another. Right. And if you're able to do that in a digital space, like you have been able to, and you've been so successful at doing it, making people feel like part of a community, but also being able to bring it in the physical form and maybe have meetups and stuff like that. I love that. Yeah. That's a great idea.
I think events down the road.
Yeah, events, maybe some sort of meetups at certain restaurants that you're collaborating with. Like, we'll get into that because I'm all about like business strategy. I
love that.
And I'm all about all those things to incorporate.
I love it. I love the business mind.
Yes.
I am taking on that.
You're taking on that vibe?
I'm starting to wear that hat a little more. You go from creative to business, and that's a journey on its own. Yeah. 100%.
Have you done business before going through this journey?
No, not at all. No, it started like right out of college.
Really?
Yeah. So I didn't know what I was doing out of college. I went to UNCW. Played volleyball, and then got into serving, waiting tables, and fell in love with the hospitality industry. Just took that athlete channeled, energy, because I played for 2 years, and then I was like, well, I'm not gonna be an athlete anymore. What am I gonna do? Yeah. My parents like, you need to make some money. That's what you need to do. Right, so I went into serving, and then just kind of channeled that into just taking care of people, and fell in love with that team and that life, because hospitality industry. If you don't know, if you've never worked in restaurants, it is a whole it's its own language. It's its own world.
Right.
And I really did love it. And then I moved to Charlotte, and everyone used to ask me where to eat in Wilmington. So I was like that person for everyone there. And I also worked for a seafood company out of college for 3 years. So that's how I had the deep love for food and really getting to communicate with the chefs.
Yeah.
So I had the server side, and then I also had the back of house, walk in the back door of those restaurants to chat with chef to see if he's going to buy some new seafood type thing. So I kind of married the two with where to eat.
Now, when you do that, when you find out what's happening behind, the back house, behind like the chef and all their all the things that they're going through.
Yeah.
And they give you the insight. Yes, we're buying new seafood and all of that. Is that something that you naturally would incorporate and get excited about to tell your guests about and say, hey, we just got this, I don't know, lobster or fish or whatever? Is that something that you kind of like also gravitated towards giving them an experience while they were there?
So in where to eat, you mean?
No, in back in the day when you were serving.
Yeah. Oh, like back when I was serving.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I transitioned out of serving to work for the seafood company.
Oh, okay.
But you mean when I was a server?
Yes.
Yeah. That's like one of the things you get excited if you have like a new fish or, a new grouper. You're like, hey, the local grouper is this.
Right.
I fell in love with just the aesthetic as food. And like I said, the energy of taking care of people. But once then I went into the seafood company, I got to even like, it's actually in Charlotte. It's based out of Atlanta, but there's a branch in Charlotte. It was in Noda at the time.
Okay.
And I would even go and travel to Charlotte to learn about all of the different products we had, which were like pork, beef, chicken, mushrooms, fish. And I'd even go in the fish house and get to see the fish cutters, cut the fish. And then all the guys would call up their chefs and be like, hey, we have this coming in today. So I got to really see, the behind the scenes of what that world looks like.
Right.
And also chefs, mad respect.
Yeah.
Mad respect for chefs.
Why would you say that?
Because like just even chills thinking about it because the hours they work.
Oh, yeah.
Like you have to
the prepping and all that.
It is wild. It is insane. They get there. Some chefs get there at 9 a.m. and they don't leave until 9 p.m. And that's just like a regular day. And they work long hours and you got to really love what you do. Right. You got to really love what you do. And chefs I just look up to them tremendously.
Yeah. Is it easy to get burnt out if it's not something that you love?
Yeah.
Is what you're saying.
You see it time and time again.
Yeah. That's tough. I know that's one of the businesses that I've always struggled with. Like if I were ever to start a business, the restaurant business is one that I've kind of toyed with because it's sexy to have a restaurant, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I've always thought about like, no, there's a lot of work. I've seen some like documentaries and stuff on Netflix. I've never been
the documentaries.
Yeah, I've never been behind the curtain in the restaurant industry, but I have seen and heard how difficult it is to operate a restaurant. But before that, let's get into like the theme of this. So as you know, the podcast is called Love and Cash Flow. And what we'd like to do here is to change things up a bit. I'm sure, do you remember as a kid playing Truth or Dare?
Yeah.
All right. So what we do is love or cash flow. So you get to pick which topic do you want to start with on the pod, and we'll get into whichever one. So love or cash flow.
So funny. My mind goes, pick the one that makes you the most uncomfortable.
That's good.
No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm going to pick love.
You're going to pick love. Let's go. I love it.
Because I believe they are connected.
They are.
Tremendously.
100%. That's the reason why we actually, got this podcast, because love and cash flow is anytime you're having a genuine conversation with someone, it usually ends up being about making money, livelihood and all that, or about love, whether that be relationships or passions, things that you love and all that, family members. So I love that you went with love though first, even though we're going to touch on both topics already.
You have such a good podcast voice.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah,
it doesn't sound the same when it's on the camera.
It sounds really great.
It's kind of cringy when I hear myself. I don't know if that's ever happened to you.
No.
Like hearing myself is like, but
I'm used to it. That's all I do.
Oh, that's all you do. This is literally your career. Yeah. All right. So let's start with question number 1. So balancing a thriving business and personal life can be challenging, of course. How do you manage this, especially being a single, attractive woman in the bustling city of Charlotte?
Great question. I would say first, in the beginning stages of the business, there wasn't a lot of balance, to be honest. I was just in it fully. And I think you go through that time where it's just kind of all consuming and there is no separation. At least there wasn't for me, no separation of boundaries, because I was just in it and you love it so much that you just forget.
Yeah, you forget that time is going by.
You forget. There's no, there's no boundaries with that. It's just work is everything because you love what you do so much. But now getting to the point where I know, and I'm really big into this right now, is filling my cup first is key for success, is key for me to be happy, is key for everyone around me to be happy. So if my cup is not filled first, not coming from a selfish way, because so many people could say, oh, well, you putting yourself first can be selfish. And I'm learning so much that is so not true. So for me, setting those personal boundaries has been a key word for 2024. Setting those boundaries of not saying yes to everything. Not being a yes girl all the time. And I used to
Thank you for saying yes for coming, by the way.
Yeah, I did my research. Back in the day, I would have been like, yeah, let's do it. And now I'm like, wait, I have boundaries. Where's my energy going?
Is it serving the purpose of where we're trying to go?
I
hear you. I'm sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to say
you're
thank
fine. You're fine. So just pouring into me, and that requires a level of awareness. That requires a level of separating. Hey, these are business hours. We're going to be working on the business from this time to this time. Channeled intentional energy. And then we're turning off, because with creators, especially, you can be on your phone so much so. So much so.
Especially when your business just depends on it too, right? Like you can lose track of time, and next thing you know, your phone is giving you all these alerts. Hey, you spent too much time on this. Do you have any, question. Do you have any type of like time management apps on your phone to make sure that it kind of like alerts you? You know how Instagram nowadays also has the ability to, you set a setting that tells you, hey, you've reached the limit that you set or whatever. Do you have anything like that to kind of manage it?
Exist.
It doesn't exist.
The limit does not exist.
I love it.
I'm kidding. I do not personally. I'm taking it upon myself to just be hyper aware. I think awareness is key for me in my life to, hey, if I'm working on and I'm working through this, because time blocks, if you are a business owner or want to be an aspiring business owner, time blocks are key, as you know. I know you know.
Yes.
Because that, like I said, that channeled, non-distracted energy. That's why 4-hour work week, Tim Ferriss, you can literally get so much done if you're intentional and channeled energy. If you're, and I catch myself doing this. It's catch and then bring it back, catch and bring it back. I'm editing and I'll be toying around with this, toying around with that, but then you got to rechannel. And so time blocks are key to just be efficient.
Yes.
And I think discipline in that way and setting up your calendar correctly is freedom. I think it allows for freedom. So I don't have any time management, but I am very aware.
Got it. No, I love that. I love the fact that you're able to be so conscious of your time and what you're trying to achieve that you could set the time aside for certain things. And as long as you can stay disciplined enough to actually execute on them and not go over or let emails distract you from the one thing that you're working on, which is what my current suffering.
Emails. They never end. And I'll never forget when a guy I really look up to, he said, work will eat you. Work never ends. And it is what we love, but it's always going to be, you're never going to not get emails, right? You're never going to not get DMs. So how do you put you first? Like work is not first priority, actually. It's me. Then it's, my family, whatever that may look like for you before work, because work will eat you if you let it.
100%.
So thinking I need to get all these emails done and then it's like, no. I've learned that because I have been consumed in that so much so that it becomes you. And then what happens? You become accustomed to working. And then what happens when you try and turn off, where you go and spend time with your family or take a weekend trip and you are conditioned, not only your mind, but your body is conditioned in a state of stress, in a state of feeling like you need to get something done. I need to do. I can't just be. And I see that happen a lot.
I'm going to recommend you this book that I'm actually currently reading. It's called Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. I'll send it to you. And it's all about, being able to buy your time, in that if you see, especially emails and calendar management are one of the biggest things that us entrepreneurs or solopreneurs kind of navigate and struggle, but it is a low paying task, meaning it doesn't really yield you. You can hire someone for $10 an hour, or someone in the Philippines, a VA, to handle all of that for you. So it's the premise of the book is really just buying back your time. The things that consume the most amount of time, but don't give you the output that will drive your business forward.
Right.
Is instead of hiring with the thought of, oh, I just want to delegate this task. No, you're hiring from the aspect of, I want to buy my time back through this vertical that is consuming me.
Right.
So it's a great book.
That's good. Doing more of what you love, less of what you don't love. Because your energy at the end of the day, we only have so much life force energy. So it's like, where's that energy going? Doing the tasks that you don't even really like doing.
Right.
Like, let's think more, more intelligent here.
100%.
It's 100%. It's hard to get in that mindset though, because I've been guilty of that. First, you're like, I can do it all. It's super easy. It'll take me 3 seconds.
Yep.
Then you add that up, and I've done this where I've added up those little tasks, and then you look at it and you're like, oh, okay, that's like 9 hours of my time. That's a lot. 9 hours. What could you do in 9 hours?
Right. No, and then also is valuing your time and saying, no, my company is paying me, right? And it's paying me whatever your hourly wage is at this point now, right? But you could have, for the sake of the business, you could have hired someone, a VA, to do it for $10 an hour, but yet someone who's getting paid, I don't know, a couple $100 an hour is doing the task that we could have. So it's not good for the business. You're technically robbing your business by doing that. But anyways, this is more on the cash flow topic.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
But yeah, I wanted to.
Also, they probably do it better than you, to be honest.
Right.
You think you do it better. They probably do it better.
And that's one of the biggest things as entrepreneurs, that we think that we do things better than anybody else. That's kind of like, because it's our baby. Like, it's true. There's certain things that people probably won't do, but you have to be okay with, someone else doing it 80% of your 100, and that's 100% better, which is what they talk about in that book.
I'm getting the book.
But going back to love, how do you navigate, like, again, you from what I saw, you're single woman in Charlotte. I love this place. I moved from Miami, by the way. And Miami is, Miami, right? Miami's vacation hub, beautiful people everywhere. Yeah. All these different things. Came to Charlotte mostly to start a family. My wife and I, we got married in Miami. We met in Miami. She lived in Miami all her life. And we moved to Charlotte really to start a family. And this was back in late 2018 that we moved. No kids at the time. Now we have 2, as you may have seen. And so we wanted to start a family. And so the awesome place to raise a family, I feel, is you get the diversity, the different, cultures kind of intertwined. You get some Hispanics. You have so many different cultures. It's like a little melting pot, even though in Miami, there's a lot of that as well, but it's mostly around Latinos, Hispanics, which, by the way, I'm Dominican. So,
okay.
Yeah. So
I was going to ask.
Yeah. So I'm Dominican. So I love that, right? The food, all these things, my taste buds are on a party.
They love to party.
They love to party. But I love the fact that here you're able to get all of those different elements of, the culinary world, right? Where you have Colombian, Venezuelan, Cuban, Dominican food. You still also have the barbecues, the Asian food, like so diverse. And I feel like Charlotte is so underrated. And I'm always trying to sell it now because I live here. I'm like, dude, you have no idea. People think that Charlotte is like a country, right? Like it's just country. You see, cows everywhere. I'm like, no, this is like legit city, right?
That's funny. Yeah. I didn't know that. I'm from Ohio, where there are real cows.
There's real cows.
Lots of cows.
Yeah. So
we go cow tipping.
Where does someone like you, because this is in your business, like a guy asks you out, like because your expectations are over here. Like, how do you even
listen?
How does that? I'll be so intimidated if I was a single dude trying to ask you that.
Same. Don't do it. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just joking. It is. That's been interesting for me because restaurants, if you think about it, and I love the word conditioned, so I will use that word frequently. When I go into restaurants, my conditioned state is work. So you go into a restaurant and you relax. I go into a restaurant and I turn on, honestly, masculine energy.
Yeah.
Because that's my work mode. So I'm not in my feminine energy usually at a restaurant. Right. It takes me like 3 deep breaths, a little vinyasa flow, and like some essential oils to get in my feminine energy at a restaurant because I'm in that do mode.
Right.
Because I'm shooting and like I'm going after things.
Right.
And I don't want to be my masculine energy on a date.
Right.
So that's been hard for me to navigate. When somebody does ask me, I usually say, let's get I'll say, let's get like coffee or tea or go, do something else.
Right.
Especially the first couple of times we're hanging out.
Right.
Because I've been on dates where
You know the chef. in the
I
back.
know. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like they
It's
know what you like.
Yeah, it's like I walk in and I don't mean it to be like this. It just is. It's a Miranda show. It's a Where to Eat Charlotte show. It's
Right.
like, I come in and the restaurant knows who I am, and then the servers are talking to me, and then I can't not talk to them.
Right.
And I can't not talk to chef will come out.
Yeah.
So it's like a whole thing, and that is very intimidating, and that's not my goal.
Right.
So
right.
I always say, let's maybe do something else. Like let's
Right.
get tea, or let's go on a park walk and maybe a couple hangouts in.
Yeah. I mean, I love that. But at the same time, I feel that if a guy is able to endure that, in that, they're not the center of attention, obviously not in the first date. So I get that part.
Yeah.
But also like maybe in the second date or something that you can see into your world, it's kind of a benefit, I would say, in that they can see your world from a perspective of, real life. Because I'm sure most people at this point, if they ever ask you on a date, they know what you do for a living, right? It's like, it's out there.
I
right?
was on Hinge and I got off, but it just didn't feel in alignment. And I got all these messages like, hey, yo, what's the best taco spot? I'm like, guys,
this is the wrong platform.
Can we not do this? Stop.
No way.
I swear.
They were
so many.
just asking you for the best taco
Yeah.
spot.
Or, oh my gosh, you're the Where to Eat girl.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm actually Miranda.
I'm actually
Kind of. Yeah.
No, that's hilarious. But what I was getting to is that as a guy is like, you're able to see that. And I would also do this as a test for a guy. It's like, if they can withstand you being the center of attention, it really will put them in a place of saying or checking themselves if they don't like it or whatever. It's like, okay, this might not be the one because this is my life right now, right? Or if they're getting intimidated by the fact that I'm getting all the attention currently because I'm in the work setting and all that, it might be a red flag. I'm just me, like my
that.
opinion.
Yeah.
But
I look for my number one, top 3 traits I really enjoy in a partner is patience. So for Amanda, sit there and have patience and to hold the space in a way of where he's not intimidated, because if he's triggered, it's coming from a place of ego.
Right.
So to have his ego in check,
Yes.
I think I think it would be a good test.
It would be an
Not that I
amazing
want to
test.
test my men, but I mean, I think as women we do that
already by default.
by default.
It's like, which test are we going to run this time?
We subconsciously do it. We don't know we're doing it, but we do because it's inherent, innate in us to want to make sure that the men is safe. It's a safe place.
100%. And what would you say, I guess, would be then your favorite type of date? And if it's not like restaurant, because obviously we love food.
Yeah.
You love food.
Yeah.
But if it's not a date, like, and it's not coffee or tea or something, because that's just more subtle. Okay, let's hang out. What else do you like to do?
My friends are gonna laugh at me, but I love nature so much. I feel the most me in nature.
Yep.
So at the park, I go to Freedom all the time. I go to, all the parks around Charlotte. I wish we had more.
Yeah.
But exploring something new stimuli, but nature is like where I feel the most me. It's, just in my natural essence. So like a picnic would be
that's what I was just gonna say.
That would be like
pointer to all
God.
fellas. Grab a picnic, do the whole thing, a little basket, and ask Miranda. You're gonna get so many date requests.
Hey, so
I'm gonna take you to Freedom Park. I love it. Hey, this is what you never know. You might get married after this podcast.
You never know. You never know.
I love it. I love it. Now, when it comes to, I guess, I know that you are pretty close to your dad, your father, right? Like you guys have a pretty tight relationship.
Yeah.
How do you feel that has played a role in like the area of, I guess what you would want in a future husband, if that's even what you want? I'm sure you want to eventually get married, have kids, and all these things.
Yeah.
How has that played, like your relationship with your dad played a role in all of that?
Just being able to see my dad's heart and to see how generous he is and how he does provide a beautiful, safe space. I think that's one thing about my dad is people open up around him because they feel safe. And as a woman, that is one of our top priorities is to feel safe, because when we're in our masculine energy, and I've just been diving into the dualities of the energy lately, because it's, it's unseen, but it's very much important, as energy is literally 99.9% of everything. We just can't see it.
Right.
And my dad, he does hold like a very beautiful space for women to feel safe. So they always kind of open up and share about, and that's a really good thing. So I believe safety is cultivated within, though. So I believe feeling safe on your own is key. But my dad has shown me a beautiful version of that. He's a great listener.
Yeah.
You know, he's open with his feelings, and I think that is just so incredible for a man to be both masculine, to be both strong, to have that, you know, that conquer energy, to be motivated, but also to be open about who he is and his feelings. And that allows, for me personally, that allows me to feel safe coming to him about what I'm feeling.
Right.
And I think that's a beautiful thing. You know, I've met some men that are just, they kind of shut that side off, or, you know, that ego turns on. But for a man to listen, that is a powerful, powerful skill.
Powerful. And is it attractive?
So attractive. So attractive to listen. Yeah. Just want to be heard. You know, women want to be heard.
Right.
And I understand, you know, it goes both ways as well. Men want to be heard too and have different types of needs.
100%.
But yeah, I just, you know, I've been single for quite some time, actually. And
how long? This episode is brought to you by our partners at Wealthy Creator, the go-to experts for entrepreneurs looking to elevate their personal brand and unlock new income streams. With their proprietary Pineda method, you'll get a tailored blueprint. You'll master content production and discover monetization secrets that work. Don't just work hard, work smart, and let Wealthy Creator guide you to your next level of success. Visit the link in the description below to learn more and start transforming your personal brand today. Now back to the episode.
5 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And
that's tough. That sounds like work. Nowadays, and I mean, that shows obviously that you know what you want, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not going to just settle, right?
Yeah.
So that's important.
Yeah.
But you know, also you're not an ugly girl. Like, you're beautiful. You're out there in the public eye. You're a public figure.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm sure it's not like a lack of options. It's a matter of what to choose, what prioritize, and all that. Maybe you're not in your season yet. Maybe you feel like, is that the case, that you feel like right now you're just working on yourself? There's more to be worked on. How do you where do you stand on that front? Are you opposed to Mr. Right coming at this moment?
I'm open. So I've said this. Somebody asked me this the other day. Actually, I'm open, but I'm not looking. And so what that means for me is, energetically, my heart is open.
Yeah.
So when I first moved to Charlotte, I was in a relationship where I was hurt, very much so. So what happened was, I immediately went into a protective layer over my heart. You know, I shut my heart off completely for many years when I moved to Charlotte. So I believe there's something wrapped in everything.
Right.
And the people that I meet who have similar mindsets, you just know what's the lesson, what's the blessing. I believe life is happening, you know, for you, not to you. And you will hear that. And with a lot of entrepreneurs and people who are high level, because they know that they are the creator of their reality.
Right.
And what I mean by that is, it took me years though to realize that I needed to go inward.
Yeah.
And I did do that work. And it hurt at first, because first I'm like, where's my savior? I moved to Charlotte, and, you know, I looked up and I'm hurting.
Yeah. Did you have family here, or by yourself?
No, by myself.
Oh, wow.
Didn't know anybody. It was a really hard couple of years, and we won't dive into the nitty gritty of that, but
we can.
I was alone a lot. It was dark.
So did you move for your ex? Or did you guys move together?
We had split right before I moved to Charlotte.
Oh, okay.
And we were still kind of friends.
Yeah.
Trying to play the friend thing, like, hey, you know.
Yeah, cordial.
Yeah, cordial, but also I was really hurting.
Yeah.
But what had happened was, I'd shut off. I had pretended like, oh, yeah, I'm fine. Everything's fine. Right. I got this. Yeah. So I went into straight up survival mode, which is, you know, just dangerous. Head down. Yeah, it is dangerous. My heart shut off, and it was like that. And I kind of just like went into this lonely lone wolf, go and just focus on the business, which it needed to be what it was, because I did take that time to dive inward, and I've done a lot of self-development work, a lot. And people say, like, self-development, what does that mean? Just diving into me, you know, and learning myself. And I started listening to podcasts. Like, I wasn't into any of that stuff when we were dating at all. So I started listening to podcasts, started to just read more, you know, do the whole thing. Yeah. And I was getting hit with lesson after lesson, smacked. Like, that's the thing. In the best way. Yeah. The universe was smacking me with some lessons. And I needed to learn those lessons.
Yeah.
And that's how that was. But my heart was closed. And now I'm at a point where I realize that the savior that I was looking for, I wanted somebody to come in and swoop me up and just save me from where I was, which was not in a good place. Just,
Right.
Financially, I was waiting tables and I wasn't making like any money.
Yeah.
I'm trying to plug away at where to eat on the side. I'm trying to spend the money that I did make serving, which was not much, to, go and buy food at restaurants so that I could,
wow.
create content.
Right.
Because I wasn't at that point yet.
Yeah.
So I had gone through some really intense, hard lessons. And I'm now at a point where I realized, like, even just the past year, that I am the savior.
Yeah.
I am the one who I wanted to save me the entire time.
It was in you.
It was me.
Yeah.
I was looking for something outside of myself because we're all seeking a feeling.
Yeah.
We're all, whatever it may be in life, you will notice when people are on the hunt, they're on this, I got to go after it. I got to go get it.
Right.
They're seeking a feeling. Everyone wants to experience a feeling. But what I didn't realize for me is that feeling that I was seeking was already inside of me.
Right.
I wasn't giving it to myself because I wasn't seeing myself. I wanted to be seen. I wanted to feel enough. I wanted to be loved. So what did I want? A partner. Why?
To give you all those things.
To see me.
Yep.
To validate me.
Yeah.
I wanted a platform to validate me because I didn't feel seen. I had spent my entire life proving myself in a proving energy because I never felt truly enough as me, my real self. Right. Never.
Wow.
Once I was a kid. And I wasn't accepted as a kid. I was told I was too tall and nerdy and, so I thought I took that moment and in my brain, my child brain, who sponge-like brain, I believed everything they told me, because that's what happens when we're a kid around 6 years old. We are highly susceptible to everything we're told, right? Yeah. And that gets ingrained in our subconscious memory. And I'm a big science nerd, so don't get me on that. But I believe that I had to change. I believe that I was not enough as Miranda, the real me. Right. So I have just discovered that, wow, I was looking for something outside of me this whole time. I tried to be saved in a relationship. Yep. Then I tried to save my parents. Wow. I tried to go save my parents. Wow. In reality, I was projecting because I wanted to be saved. Right. So I wanted to save the world because I needed to be saved. Wow. Right. Yeah. So I've just discovered, like, holy heck, I am the savior. I need to save me.
I need to do the work.
Yeah.
So you were able to find out, in essence. So you had to undo a lot of things in you. The mental blocks,
a lot,
breaking down barriers, mental barriers, and all these things to then rebuild. Right. And it's been a journey, I'm sure, of being able to do that. Not that many people have, I guess, the stamina to endure, because I'm sure it could be painful too. It's like, man, I've been doing it wrong this whole time. Or I wonder what would have been of this situation had I known this, but not living in the space of regret, but more so it's like, man, I wish I would have done this work before. Did you ever feel that I'm like, I wish I would have learned more about myself in that, in the past versus having to endure everything that you did, or that you learned more about it?
No, I have enough evidence. I have enough evidence in my experience that everything happens exactly how it's supposed to happen to get you right here. If you were to tell me, if I were to give you, drop $2 million in your bank account 2 years ago, would you take it? I promise you when I tell you this, because I know, I would say no.
Really?
Why? Because I couldn't hold that money. I couldn't hold that money. I didn't have the capacity to hold that money. I couldn't have held the relationship.
Wow.
I know. It's just because I've seen it. I've witnessed it.
Would you say you didn't trust yourself enough to then be able to manage $2 million? Is that, or like, Dad, can you hold this for me till I'm a little bit more?
I'll be honest. Yes, if you gave me $2 million 2 years ago, it would have been gone like that.
Right. Well, that's the case with most people. Like, that's why people that win the lottery in what I think the average is like 2-3 years and a half or something like that. They're right back to where they were because they don't know what to do with that kind of money. So that's on a more financial literacy side. But
Right.
you're speaking more on I guess, a level of, I don't know, what, maturity or understanding of what it is that you have in your hands type of thing. Where do you come from?
So money operates at a frequency,
Yeah.
an energetic frequency. And I was not at the frequency to hold that money. I
Got
was
it.
at a lower vibration where I couldn't hold the money. So you look at your life, and your life is basically a reality based on your vibration.
Yeah.
And that gets a little like, what does that mean by vibration? You
Yeah.
know, the thoughts that you emanate, there's lower vibration and there's high vibration. You know,
Right.
there's a high vibe restaurant.
Yeah.
There's a low vibe restaurant.
Yeah.
What makes the vibration? It's the thoughts.
Yeah.
Are they good thoughts? Are they high vibrational thoughts and gratitude and joy and love and bliss? Are they low vibrational thoughts out of jealousy, guilt, greed? You
Mhm.
know, and so our external is a representation of that. So I was at a lower vibration.
Yeah.
So I couldn't hold that money at all. I didn't have that. I wasn't at the same vibration as that money, as well as I wanted to save the world.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I was going to give that money and give it away
Give it away to
because
different
I didn't believe. And here's the thing with money. Money's deep.
Mm.
Money is not just, yeah, I make money and that's just my business just makes money. Money is, if you're not creating money, there's beliefs there. And that's what I'm realizing on my journey. You can do the things with the business, but if you have limiting beliefs that you don't believe you're worthy,
Right.
you know, the universe will only give you what you believe
Feel
you're
worthy of.
Yeah, but you believe you're worthy of receiving.
Yeah.
And I had to realize that there were some money blocks there.
Yeah.
So like ask yourself, right? And I had to do this. Write down, how does money make you feel really? Like write down what it would feel like to have, a couple $1 million. Are you in joy? Write down how does money even initially just make you feel?
Right.
And see what actually, like, sit in the stillness of that.
Mhm.
What comes up?
Mm.
And for me, I was like, oh, I don't have any money blocks. Money flows through me and to me easily. And then my body's like, nah, it doesn't.
Your body will be.
No,
your
my
body will
was
check
like,
you real quick.
Oh yeah, my body was like, energetically, it was like, no.
Yeah.
Like money equals problems.
Yeah, that's what we've been told, right? Like the money is the root of all evil.
If that's how you grew up,
Right.
if that's how you grew up, and that's what
Right.
you believe, and those all stem from deep
Upbringing
subconscious
and all that
beliefs, right? So it's like, oh yeah, money is everywhere. Da, 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 da. But if you really don't believe it,
Yeah.
you cannot attract that money.
Right.
Money won't come to you if you don't like it.
Right.
You know,
100%.
money's like your friend.
Yeah.
And if you subconsciously are like,
Right.
you actually are a problem, it's
Right.
not going to come hang out
And that's
with
with
you.
anything, not just money, by the way. It's like, right?
Amen.
Like your
Amen.
relationships, the people, the close friends that you want, your inner circle, your husband, your wife, all these things also come from that aspect of, do you feel worthy enough to have it? Right. So I think it's funny because when I got married, I got married at a younger age than I ever thought I would be getting married. I got married at 27. My wife was 25. And
She's gorgeous, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Mhm.
She really is. I can't even dispute that. But it's funny because I was in a place where I was okay being single. I was okay not having a girlfriend. I was working on myself, right? I've always been that guy. It's funny because I've always been that guy that doesn't mind doing things by themselves. Like I'll go to a restaurant and eat by myself and have the best time. Drink, my little wine, my steak. My favorite is like steak and mashed potatoes and I'll have the best time. I'll go to the movies and watch a movie by myself. A lot of guys can't do that. And I've always kind of been different in that aspect. Like my brother can't do that, whom I've grown up with. We've shared bedrooms all our lives up until obviously he got married and all these things. That would be weird, right? But
He's still having sleepovers.
Right? But to the point is that I've always been okay not having someone else, right? And it's not that I needed them. And I think that's why God gave me my wife earlier, is because it's not something that I necessarily wanted, but I needed. I was okay not having my wife, but God said, no, you need your wife, right? And then that's when my life really, took off in every aspect of, my life, relationship wise, spiritually, financially, all these things started to take off. But I feel that it came in from a place of not, I guess, giving out that energy of like me needing it. Because there's a thing where you can attract certain things by what you believe in you. Because it's not like I felt less worthy of being married or less worthy of having my person or whatever. It's just that I was just not in the frame of mind to even think that far ahead, I guess is what I'm getting to.
Yeah.
And I feel that's why I felt like, even though I felt worthy of having a future wife and all these things, is like the timing is because I wasn't yearning for it or being so needy about it. It kind of happened. Like,
so
naturally.
you believe that's why you think you attracted her. It's because you weren't coming from a place of lack.
Right.
You were coming from a place of more wholeness in yourself.
Right. So I've always been somebody like you were saying, just working on myself and trying to internalize, the different things that happen. I grew up in Dominican Republic, so I saw poverty firsthand, like little kids without shoes. I grew up in a middle class home in Dominican Republic, which it's a third world country pretty much, almost, right? Like the middle class in Dominican Republic is lower class in the United States, right? Pretty simply put. However, I never lacked a roof over my head. I always had food. Just the luxuries of life is what I didn't have. But that gave me perspective in that, okay, I see people so happy with so little, right? And I go to the States, right? I was born in Boston, Massachusetts, so I'm American, but I was able to go to the States and see, we had central air, which we take for granted here. Like you have a central AC system where over there is like you rely on fans and you live in a house that's made out of bricks and it becomes an oven, like a literal oven inside when the sun is beaming at it for 12 hours. So it gave me that perspective of, seeing very little when it comes to financially, but also understanding that money is not what brings that happiness. It's really the relationships, the things that you truly enjoy and love and all these things. And I kind of went off topic there.
No, that's so beautiful. And I think that deserves so much just because you can say it, right? People can say it all the time that money doesn't buy happiness.
Right.
Money gives a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So money brings you a feeling. So if you're constantly on the search for money, you go, you get the money, you get the feeling. And then what? You got to create more money.
Right.
To get more of that feeling.
Yeah.
So you're seeking something outside of you once again. When you seek something outside of you, you will be seeking for that feeling your entire life.
Yeah.
And it is fleeting. That's why if you're putting your happiness, your worth in a relationship, what if that is so, I don't ever want to be there. And I used to be there.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to be there where my happiness, my self-worth is relying on somebody else, is relying on my business.
Yeah.
The safety I feel is relying on that paycheck that comes.
Mm-hmm. That's a tough place to be and to maintain also when you're relying on other exterior factors to fulfill you in certain areas where the power is within each of us to be able to, feel the things that we're worthy of feeling.
Yeah.
But I love that so much because that internal work and working on oneself is kind of a cliche or something that everybody says, oh, I'm working on myself, but it's harder sometimes than people make it out to be.
It's every day. People say to me all the time, and I'm just so blessed. Your energy is incredible.
Yeah.
You have great energy. And I'm like, yes. Yes. I did come out of the womb with this energy. Actually, I was gonna say I didn't come out of the womb with it, but I kind of did.
Yeah.
I kind of was like, yeah, I have all this energy.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then you have those layers that get put on your whole entire life. So yeah, I have always not had this energy. Catch me 5 years ago. My energy was, am I allowed to curse on here?
Yeah, you can.
I won't. My energy was crap. My energy was crap like 5 years ago. Like it really was. Why? Because I had low frequency thoughts but it needed to be exactly what it was. So it's like, dang, I just don't wake up. I have to do the meditation every morning and the journaling.
Yeah.
And it's so worth every bit of it.
Right.
Because that is where I believe I'm on this journey to freedom.
Right.
I believe that we would all love freedom, right?
100%.
Freedom is within.
Yeah.
Freedom is eliminating any attachment outside of yourself.
Yeah.
That's what I'm on.
That's what you're trying to find.
Yeah.
And continuously find.
It's not even trying to find it. It is. It already is. It already is happening now inside of us. And that's the part where we believe it's outside of us. It's an illusion of separation. when in reality, it's all here now. You already are everything. You already are divine. You already are literally perfect. It's the beliefs we have that we believe that if we do this or have this, then if this, then that.
Right.
And I had to realize this year, because I was on this whole journey of fixing myself. I thought I had to fix myself. So then I had to let that go. And that was even a thing.
Because that's implying that there was something wrong with you.
Exactly. That was implying that there was something wrong with me.
Right.
So then I was like, oh, I got to fix. So I've been trying to fix and change myself my whole life. And it was this big moment this year of you already
Last
are.
year or this year?
This year.
This year? 2024?
This year. New.
Really? like that emoji blown mind emoji. Okay.
But it was like this feeling of like you already are.
Yeah.
But even the self-development journey can be rooted in seeking and changing.
Right.
I'm on a journey to get somewhere.
New year, new me.
New year, new me.
Yeah.
I need to make all these changes to change.
Right.
Because I'm not already.
Right.
And that's what I'm learning.
That's what
I already am.
Yeah.
So how do we sit ourselves in this present moment and realize that, I'm already perfect. But what can we become aware of to let go? That's the journey.
That's the journey. That's the tough part.
I get deep.
You do.
Oh,
but we can go down that rabbit hole and be here for 14 hours like a Joe Rogan podcast. but we're not going to do that. But no, I love it. I can literally talk about all of that.
Yeah, let's go back to the 3D.
But the 3D.
Three-dimensional. Let's go.
Three-dimensional, right? Because we're like 6Ds right now.
Oops.
No, I love it. So, Miranda, what sparks the idea for you to start Where to Eat Charlotte? Like, you obviously were in the hospitality industry, and that probably played a big role in you getting into that. But why, like, content and did you find a hole in the industry? Did you want to help out a certain, like, what's the story behind the inception of Where to Eat Charlotte?
Inception. That's a great movie.
It really is. 6D.
Back to 6D.
If you haven't seen the movie, please do. You'll understand what we're talking
about. It's a good movie. So I believe that when I moved to Charlotte and I was going back and forth from Wilmington to Charlotte to train in the fish house, I was dining out at our accounts. Okay. So I remember asking my manager, I was like, hey, where should I go tonight? He's like, go to Good Food on Mumford. And so I went to Good Food and, got to experience the restaurant. And I just was like, while I was there training, I didn't plan on moving to Charlotte yet. I was like, who's posting about where to go? I was like, who's telling me where to go?
Right.
Obviously I have like, Brett telling me and Mickey and the guys at the fish house, but like, who's the guy
go-to person
on social,
Yeah.
And as I said, I was that person in Wilmington. So basically what happened was people would message me because I post about food all over my personal platform.
Got it.
And my partner and I at the time were dining out all the time and plus his dad is the one who got me the job. So his dad actually was in Myrtle Beach. He had the Myrtle Beach area. I had the Wilmington area. We would go out to restaurants. Like that was our thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And you would get paid for it, right?
So that was his account.
Okay.
So I was an inside sales rep and he was the sales rep.
So explain what they mean, what you mean by account. So they would give you basically the ability to go to clients, restaurants that you guys would service.
Yeah. So we would service. So we'd sell them seafood. So we would come in to dine. It's like you're the, it's like if you work at Cisco or US Foods, you're going in and you're basically like, oh my gosh, like we sold them that seafood. Yeah. So you're dining.
Right.
And you can expense it as a business expense, cool. And then the chef will, it is. So chef will bring out some fun stuff and you get to meet the chef who you have a relationship with.
Right.
So I'd be doing that. We'd be going out to eat all the time. Every restaurant in Myrtle Beach. I also had the Raleigh area. I'd go visit Raleigh. Nice. And then in Charlotte, when I'd visit, I dine at all those restaurants. So I was living in restaurants. But in Wilmington, I got to go into the back and to see the kitchens and to sell them seafood.
Right.
So I got to like really see what's up. And I noticed, I'm like, yo, like Yelp says to go to this restaurant on the water.
Yeah.
And I would tell my friends, I'd be like, I wouldn't recommend it. They would ask me, they'd be like, hey, it says to go here. You know, it's like the Wilmington spot on the water.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't you dare set foot in that restaurant.
Because you seen.
Don't you dare go there.
Is that because you seen what's happening in the back?
Because I saw what's happening in the back.
Oh my
and,
gosh.
You know,
have you signed NDAs or anything?
No, I'm not gonna say names.
No,
I don't do that. And plus, you know, years ago, but
right.
So I was like that go-to person for people in Wilmington. They'd be like, hey, you know, you worked in like, I also worked in like every restaurant,
right.
K38, Fork and Court, Copper Penny, Porter's House. I worked everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah, I served everywhere. And so I kind of did know. So then when I moved to Charlotte, I'm like, I'm going to see if there's anyone doing this. I saw Charlotte Agenda, which, you know, they were like popping off at the time.
Yep.
And then there was maybe like 2 other accounts. So I was like, I'm going to start.
And those were not like individuals, right? Those accounts were companies kind of like Axios and.
They were there was 1 individual, 2 individuals. Yeah, they were individuals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're still plugging away now.
Yeah.
Yeah. My account has
surpassed.
Yes.
Why did you struggle to say that? Like, you know, it's fine. Life flex. It's all good. We can flex here. Okay. This is Love and Cash Love. I love this so much. Okay, so yeah, flex on them. It's all good. But okay.
Yeah, it's like triple. No, I'm just kidding.
I love it.
I'm just joking.
So then you saw a void in that not that many people were, you know, giving the information that people would really want to know about. Because honestly speaking, I can see, like, I think, yeah, even myself, I've looked at your page before I go to Yelp. I'll only go into, matter of fact, I don't know if you do this or anybody else does this. I'll look at Yelp when I'm in the restaurant just to see the pictures of the dishes that I want to buy. Like, because I'm a very visual person, and I think we all are. We eat with our eyes,
I think so
which
too.
I think is one of the main reasons why your page has blown up, because your edits, your colors, and you're able to put together. I don't know if the restaurant does it or how involved you are with customizing how things look. I'm sure you have a little bit of play with that.
Yeah.
But the colors and all of that is what makes us want to be like, okay, I need this in my life.
Right. It totally is.
Yeah. So that's the reason why when I go into a restaurant, I'll just go into Yelp to see what pictures people have taken or the pictures of the restaurant.
That's smart.
Because I'm able to see it. Because one of the things that I love, and I think you should tell this to every single restaurant that you go to, is like add pictures to the menus. Unless it's like a high-end, you know,
That's
freaking
smart.
Steak 48 or whatever restaurant. Obviously, it doesn't look as classy when you have pictures. But
that would be cool.
If it's like a Cali Colombia or Punta Cana or all of these other restaurants that I love, pictures are amazing to have.
Pictures are good. Yeah, most people, what they'll do is they'll go to the Instagram.
Yeah.
And they'll go and like scroll through. You know, that's why I tell restaurants, you don't have to have an Instagram presence. You know, there's hole in the wall restaurants that they don't have Instagram and they do just fine.
But they can delegate the Instagram presence to someone like you.
Yeah. As far as from a social media marketing standpoint, but I do get asked all the time if I run accounts. Like
for restaurants.
Yeah, I used to actually.
That's
how I started. That's how I started. Well, not started Where to Eat, but that's how I took Where to Eat full time. I had to bridge that gap with that.
Got it.
Yeah. Because when I moved here, I was serving in restaurants. I served at Kid Cashew. I served at Flower Shop over on Park Road. Yeah, I served at Five Church for 2 days.
Wow.
Which is like Church and Union now. But yeah, so then I started running the Flower Shop social media account because he's like, you like doing this. Why don't you just do it?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And then I tried to go into corporate for some stability. And that's when a whole nother journey happened of anxiety. That's when I got to experience what that was, actually.
Because you hadn't experienced corporate.
I hadn't experienced corporate before, really. I mean, the inland team, you know, I was working from home and stuff.
Right.
But I was in uptown corporate trying to be like, okay, no more serving. We're doing 401ks and stability. And then literally 7 months in, I'm like, panic attack.
Oh my God, get me out of here.
Yeah. And then I was like, I got to go back to serving because at least like I'm walking around.
Right.
You know, at least
you're not the type to be behind a cubicle.
No, I don't believe so. I don't believe so. I didn't fare well.
Yeah, you didn't meet the task. Yeah. No, I could see that.
So then I went back into serving and then took over Endako social media and then was running Endako, Oku, and Mizu. And then I transitioned out to where to eat.
That's amazing. So
yeah. So I know that game as well.
Right. So you managed accounts for restaurants that then eventually you said, okay, I'm just going to focus on my own thing. What was that transition like? Was it a financial thing? Was it like, okay, when I'm making X amount of money on where to eat, I'll be able to let go of these accounts and just focus on that? Like, what was that like?
You know, it was actually pretty recent because I was running an account pretty recently, to be transparent. And it wasn't, honestly, what it wasn't like I hit a certain number and then I'm going to like go all in on where to eat.
Okay.
The restaurants were my life vest.
Yep.
And I had a life vest, you know, I had a little cushion.
Yeah.
But I realized, where's my time going? And it was one of those moments where I knew intuitively, and you will know as an entrepreneur, as just a human being, you will hear something. You will hear something knock.
Right.
And you get to decide if you want to answer the door.
Right.
And that knock was, you need to let this go. Which I believe was, you know, higher, you know, God saying, hey, you need to let this go and trust and go all in. Because if you take that time, you think you're only spending a couple hours a week. It's more than that. Yeah. What could you actually be doing with that time if that energy is channeled and you're doing more of what you love?
Right.
What you put out is what you get back. So if you put out good energy towards what you love, it will only amplify. 100%. And so I stopped, and it was hard. It was hard. Yeah. Cause I'm like,
because that's a steady paycheck too, right? Like you're letting go of stability as well.
It was rent. It was rent. And I'm like, well, this is rent, you know, but it's exactly what you need. And you'll know when that time comes.
Right.
You'll know. And people say, how do you know? How do you know? You'll know.
Yeah, I get that question a lot. It's like, okay, when do I know to let go of my job? Like the technical answer is when you have made, you know, 3 months consistently. Right. That's the whatever. But the reality is that you'll know. I left my job before going full time on my Airbnb business. 2 months into my business. Right. Like I shouldn't have done that. But I believed in it enough to be like, okay, I'm going to focus on that. And I know that if I double down on that one thing, I saw enough. I saw the light at the end of the tunnel. Whereas if I double down on it and I know that it works up until this point, I could take it to the moon. However, I had the leverage also of my wife. So we swapped roles. I was working a 9 to 5 and she was managing the business, like literally cleaning toilets, all these different things, you know, managing guests and checking in and out and all that stuff, you know, hospitality in the aspect of stays, right? And
the work people don't see, because people just see the success, right? They don't see the cleaning the toilets.
Yep. Like if you scroll down my Instagram far down, like I'm pretty transparent. Like you literally see us cleaning toilets. And
I like that. Keep that going, because people need to see more of that. I believe, because you know, it's just such a highlight reel that you're like, oh my gosh, everyone's so successful.
Yeah, a lot of people see, you know, the glory, but they don't know the story type of thing.
Oh, that's good.
You know, so they don't know what really took to get to this point, right? Like same with you, same with us, right?
Yeah.
And it was a time where I saw enough within 2 months of doing business. Number one, I didn't want my wife cleaning toilets. I rather clean toilets. Not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just like I'm the provider. I've put that upon myself to be the one that, you know, provides and all these things. And even though I told her, let's swap roles, you get a job comfortable at a desk and all these things, which she ended up loving anyways, thank God. We lived off of her salary while we were building this business and reinvesting everything back into getting more properties and more properties. And our first year, we got like 12 listings, Airbnbs here in Charlotte.
If you've been wanting to start an Airbnb business but don't know how or where to start, I've made a brand new mini course condensing our most recent 6-hour-long workshop into a jam-packed starter course. In this 7-day starter course, you'll learn the problems and mistakes I see rookies make when starting their Airbnb business, my 3 pillars of success, namely how to scout and pitch landlords to let you rent their properties to then list them on Airbnb, instead of having to spend thousands of dollars on getting started by buying a property, my Airbnb price strategy overview, which like me can help you make over $1 million on Airbnb alone, my automation process, which will give you the time freedom and allow you to work on your business instead of in your business. I'll guide you step by step through setting up your very own Airbnb account and mock listing to have ready for your first property. And lastly, I'll show you how to add the same guest message templates I've refined over the years for both quick replies and scheduled messages to effectively communicate with guests. And on top top of all of the jam-packed education, I'm also throwing in my Prohost profit calculator, access to Airbnb's earnings potential tool, my house rules templates, my Amazon shopping list, my Prohost budgeting tool, and more. This education derives from 3 years of running a profitable Airbnb business, automating it to where it runs itself. If applied, these can help you instantly get partnerships with landlords and turn a passion for real estate investing into an extra income or even a full-time business. Students who have taken this starter course have claimed that they've learned more in these 3 hours of content than they did scavenging for answers in the internet. But no, we're not going to charge you thousands of dollars like others would. You can join today for just $27. So click the link below to sign up and get instant access to everything, apply what you learned, and get immediate step-by-step guidance and your mock listing set up or your money back. I'll see you there.
That's amazing.
Because I believed enough in the business and what we have done to where it could do that. But if it wasn't because I felt what you said, the feeling of like, you're going to get that feeling when it's time. If it wasn't because I answered to that feeling, you know, I don't know, probably still be working at Allstate right now.
Right.
You know what I'm
you have
talking?
to assess your situation. You know,
Right.
I didn't have kids and I could always go back to serving. So you have to be aware and cognizant of your situation. You know, it's like, don't take the leap if you have, you know, 12 mouths to feed at home relying on you.
Right.
It just totally depends.
Yeah.
But
Everybody's
I'm a
different.
risk taker.
Yeah. No,
I was like, yep.
let's do it. It's one of those things, like you said, is like, I could always go back to serving. It's like, that's easy, right? It's hard to take the risk. And I've lived by this model, and maybe you've seen it, where I've lived by, you only regret the things that you never like do. No, what I actually say is, I'd rather live with a failure than a regret. I'd rather live with knowing that I tried it, gave it my all, and fell on flat on my face, than regret if I ever actually did do it. And that's something that I got kind of like picked on early, like my early 20s, not picked on, but like they'll make fun of me, my friends, my family, because I would always do whatever came to my mind. I'm always getting ideas. Like, that's why I love talking to people that have something going on, because I love giving them ideas. Like, oh, you should do this. Like when you were talking about, you know, running accounts for other people, and before you did Where to Eat Charlotte, like, why not do both? Like, let's build a team that does that.
Yeah, that's
you know
smart.
what I'm talking
about? That's smart.
So I mean, we could have that conversation, but I love giving ideas.
Downloads.
Yeah, I be getting downloads. Literally, that's what I call them. I tell my wife, I just got a download. I tell my wife all the time, and I would act on them, which I think was a good thing in the time, because I was in my 20s. You know, risk was not much. Like, I still had a home to live. Like, I was living with my parents. All these things. So take the risk. And it's assessing, like you said, the situation to determine what your risk tolerance is, and being responsible. Like, don't neglect, you know, your family and feeding them and all these things. But at the same time, know that the most amount of dreams that were never fulfilled live in the cemetery. There's people that are in their deathbed that they wished that they could have done X, Y, Z, or talk to that girl that would eventually be the one that got away or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So
I always say, there is no fail. It's just learning, you know, or they say failing forward, or I always say you don't fail, you grow. Yeah. Because every single thing I needed to go through to learn a lesson, like there's a lesson wrapped up in everything. Yeah. And once you start to see that, because you can't at first, like, oh, why me? Why is this happening to me? You know, this sucks. Right. There's a lesson wrapped in it. And the lesson will repeat itself until it is learned. It will repeat itself. So so I always say, life is like seasons. Life is like patterns. Catch the pattern of your life. There's patterns. You keep going towards the same type of guys, the same relationships. You know, this person keeps, you know, saying no to the promotion, and you keep letting it slide. Right. Why? It's testing you. Are you worthy? Do you feel like you're worthy? Are you gonna, you know? So I believe everything is a lesson, and in the best way. For like, sure. I love it. I'm like, hey, what lesson are we learning today? Right. You know, right. So that's how I kind of approach life.
No, I love the fact that you're so receptive to, you know, what life has to offer and the lessons that it has to teach us. Because every single day, like you said, it's something new that we're going to be able to extract from it and implement down the road. Because if we keep getting, and I guess because you did sales, right? Sales for the seafood, kind of like sales.
I was in inside sales.
Inside sales, so you had to overcome objections and people telling you, no, I don't want that. I'd rather buy from someone else, or like someone else is cheaper, all these things. So is that something that you feel had played a role now in your business of being able to
handle the no's?
Yeah, the no's and the perseverance that it would take to actually get the deal, you know, the posts or whatever. Is that something you think has played?
I think some of it was the athlete in me, honestly. And to be transparent, I think a lot of my drive was rooted in wanting to be enough. And I think that sometimes the motivator at the time, so when I say it happened exactly how it needed to happen, because no one was stopping me. If you would have met me a couple years ago, you'd been like, where's she going? Where's she trying to go? Like, I was on a mission, but the mission was actually rooted in wanting to be seen. But that's how I got through it all, to get to a point where I could see now that, oh, I wanted to be seen.
Yeah.
Well, what if I see myself? Now let's do it for me. Now let's do it because I'm worthy of it. Now let's do it because I love what I do. So I had to go through all of that, and you're going to get smacked down a couple of times, like a lot of times,
right,
in order for you to catch on to what's really going on,
right.
So it was, and that's why they say, like, your motivation can be rooted in something, if you get broken up with and, whatever that may be, and you go on some like big weight loss transformation and it was rooted in that, but you became more of yourself, or you got to not only shed layers of weight, but you got to see yourself more and fall in love with the journey of you, whatever that may look like.
Right.
I think that it all serves a purpose.
For sure.
Yeah.
What would you say is your love language?
Wow. I feel like it changes, to be honest, but
my wife's love language is all of them. She has all of them.
She loves all of them.
What would you say is yours? Like quality time, words of affirmation.
Do you know yours off the top of your head? You tell me yours, because that'll help me, because I know there's 5.
For me, it's what's it called? Acts of service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Acts of service.
Yeah.
So somebody.
I think it's universal to men though. Like I think, I don't know, maybe not. But for me, yeah, acts of service. Like
acts of service. When
my wife, I come downstairs and my breakfast is like ready, my coffee, and like that lights me up. Or when I get out of the shower and I struggle with sleeping because my mind is always going. Not struggle in the sense like it's healthy, like a health issue, but like my mind will wander for like 20-30 minutes before I actually fall asleep, and I'm there in silence and just thinking, okay, tomorrow I'm going to do this, and I'm going to ask Miranda that question because that'll lead to this question, and it's all playing out.
Yeah.
She knows this, and then she bought me these teas, and like when I get out of the shower, my tea is and my nightstand, like that lights me up.
So it's intentional.
So super intentional. So that's
things.
that's my love language for sure.
I love that. Acts of service. I would say mine is, now it used to be acts of service. So I had a best friend, and on my birthday, she snuck into my apartment, and she knows that I really value cleanliness, and she made my bed, and I almost cried. I was like, she made my bed? Like, what? She thought to make my bed, like those little things.
Yeah.
But now I would say, just because I am so, I really do love connecting, I would say quality time. So I'd say quality time, but I am a very physical touch person.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the person that's like putting their hands on your back and just being like, hey, So
I can see that maybe because of your dad. Is your dad like that?
Yeah. My dad's like, wants to touch everything. So.
Are you only child? Or you have siblings?
No, I have 4 older brothers and 1 older sister. They're all 30 and up. They're all half brothers and sisters.
Okay. So from your mom and dad, you're the only one?
Correct.
Okay. But you had a relationship with your siblings, like growing up, or no?
No. No, I didn't. I did not.
So it's similar to my wife. My wife has 2 siblings that are women, and then 1, but it's like from previous marriage. So she grew up, even though she's technically not an only child. Yeah. She grew up like an only child. Yeah,
I feel like that. I kind of went down the sports route, so I was just so into sports and all the things they weren't.
Yeah.
They did live with us. 2 of the boys did. So, I came home and they teased me and, poked me and all the things, all the brother things. So there is that layer of like, I grew up, around a lot of men. So I like had that athlete energy, that very like masculine home.
Energy.
Yeah. And I had to really, which was, exactly like I said, what it needed to be. And then learning now to soften into the feminine and to, operating my own business. And I feel really called to help women in that way, because I'm learning how to soften into the feminine and know that there is time and place, and we have both energies in us.
Yeah.
But when you're in your masculine, when you come home, it is key to drop into that feminine,
Yeah.
to take care of yourself. You know, if you're a single entrepreneur woman, because there's a lot of women who own their own businesses now,
Yep.
which is beautiful.
Yeah.
But that can be something where if you're in the masculine energy all the time, it's
Yeah.
it's not beneficial. It's not your truest,
Yeah.
form.
No, that's
So-
true. To be able to navigate both, especially when you have a
Yeah.
business, you have to have that authoritative, because you're gonna sometimes, be the boss of guys, and you need to be authoritative and be able to say yes and no and all these different things. So I can see that.
It's a leaned forward, like when you're, especially, you're talking business, that's that's head, that's strategy, that's like, it's the leaned forward. I call it, like we're doing.
Yeah.
We're not being.
Right.
We can be and we can attract.
Right.
So being is like we can magnetize clients,
Right.
but there's a level of business and masculine following up
Yep.
with the leads.
Yep.
There's that level of the masculine, which is key for business.
For sure. For sure.
Mhm.
What's your favorite type of client to work with nowadays?
I would say, honestly, the client who is going outside of the normal realm, sourcing something somewhere that, other restaurants, a lot of restaurants use Cisco,
Mhm.
and, that's just how things are. And I feel, when a restaurant is really, buying
Intentional.
local, being intentional, using olive oil, that's good quality olive oil, it deserves to be highlighted and it deserves to be celebrated. And that's what I really want to hone in when I'm building a team. I'm working on that now. Building a team is like our mission, our vision, staying true to highlighting businesses who do an exceptional job at their craft.
Right.
And, that it does require a level of, being more, what we said, intentional.
Yeah.
And sourcing local. Charlotte will be on the verge of that if we ask for it. If
We the consumers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If we don't ask for it, then there's no demand.
Right.
But other cities like, Asheville and DC and cities where local is really key, they expect it. You go into restaurants and you want to see a seasonal menu.
Yeah.
But if we're not asking for it, the restaurants it's not going to be a priority.
Yeah. Like,
so
I feel
they'll
like
keep
maybe
ordering.
the businesses will just see the ROI on it instead.
Correct.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. So, I mean,
is there even that many options to?
It's tricky.
Source.
It's tricky. Where there is a company called Fresh List where they're kind of being that middleman between the farmer and the business. They're here in Charlotte.
Okay.
Yeah. And I want to dive into that world. I haven't, just because I'm just coming out of the trenches,
Right.
Like survival, like, here we go. Okay. We're out. Like, what are we building?
Right.
Like, what are we?
That's exciting though.
Are
you excited?
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited.
I'm feeling that energy. Like I'm excited for you because this is where I live. Like I love seeing, like having a vision about something and executing on how it's going to work out, the SOPs, planning it out,
You're
all
hired.
this geek stuff, like, having the right person to handle this and do that and the marketing side of things and, exposure and affiliates and all these different things. After that, operations, I hate it. I hate like the actual doing of it. I like building it out and letting it run and move on to like in my space, the entrepreneurial space that I like to live in is building and moving on, which is probably why I'll end up just like, buying failing businesses, like kind of like Marcus Lemonis. Have you ever seen The Prophet, the show The Prophet?
I haven't, but I'm familiar with.
Look it up. It's really good. It's my all-time favorite show for entrepreneurs.
Okay.
He'll go into restaurants and businesses and that are failing, that need help. Maybe they're in debt or something crazy. He'll go in there and add all of these elements to revitalize it. Maybe they have an awesome story, 5th generation restaurant owner, but the business is now failing, but there's sentimental value and everybody in the community loves this place, but it's about to die. It's awesome stories too. But being able to implement the marketing strategies, the sales strategies, the everything that is needed to kind of make it up again. And then bounce and leave and either keep it in the portfolio or sell it or whatever, or have the owners have majority share, whatever that might be. But I love that space. So that's why I get excited when you tell me all of that.
Yeah, I love that. Like a mastermind. So cool. Like you'd be so good at a mastermind, just coming up with business ideas. I love that.
Yeah. So for you, what I saw was that, I love the aspect that you're building out. You're in this new phase where you could really take it wherever you want. So my question to you is that, do you see a niche in the Where to Eat Charlotte where it's like, okay, you can go the route of organic, quality
Yeah.
stuff, is there enough work for you to be able to sustain that in reality?
Reality, I mean, I can't even think of one restaurant in Charlotte that's organic.
Really?
No.
But is that even the route that you want to go?
Not
ideally?
necessarily. No.
Or like sourced locally is what you're trying to.
Sourcing local, I believe, is very great for the community, and that's where it's getting more into tapping into the community, tapping into the local farmers. I think that is key, and I think we will get there. Just being
So we're not there yet. There's not a market for it right now? Like if you say, okay, from moving forward, Where to Eat Charlotte is only going to highlight restaurants that source locally and they pay attention to the olive oil and whatever, all these different things.
There's a few. We're not there yet. It would be a short list, I will say.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be transparent.
Because the reason why I feel that's happening is because the owners are not seeing the return on investment.
Exactly.
If they were to do that.
Right. 100%.
But if there's a site like yours that's highlighting them and saying, hey, you will get more exposure because of the fact that you are doing this for the community and all of that. There's a benefit. There's a return on investment.
There's got to be a benefit. And what I said, the community's got to ask for it.
Right.
So you got to see what the community's asking for.
Yeah.
The community is changing, though. And there's so many, obviously, there's a lot of Northerners coming, and it's definitely more of a melting pot. So it's going to be interesting to see what people are asking for. I know for me that no matter what, I'm going to stay true to our brand vision, which I said is, these restaurants are vetted out. We're not just highlighting everybody.
Yeah.
I let every business owner know who I talk to. There is a process. We don't just, hey, you want to be marketed? Let's sign a package. We don't do that.
Okay. Tell me about that, because I didn't know that.
Yeah. We don't do that at all.
Like, how does the vetting process work?
Right now, and like I said, we're expanding and growing the team, and I just hired a business consulting team on, which I'm very excited about because they're just helping me with CRM and website and
love it.
Launching website soon.
That's crazy.
I know I haven't had one. Isn't that fun?
You should have a podcast, by the way.
Yeah.
This could be your studio.
Okay.
We'll have Where to Eat Charlotte and all that good stuff there.
Yes.
We'll
I love
talk
bringing
about
on
that.
Yeah. I was like, that'd be so
100%
cool.
for sure. You do need it.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Imagine like you're having a
it.
conversation. You're highlighting a food. Maybe you're talking to a restaurant owner and talking about, the fact that they source locally or that they did get this olive oil from Italy.
Oh my gosh, everyone's going to go. Everyone's going to be like, well, we need to go get that thing.
And it's an hour and a half, 2 hours worth of conversation revolving around the food.
The story.
People are going to for sure buy into it. That's another add-on to the package that you can add.
I love that.
More.
Yeah, see, I need, yes, and I don't need anything. I am everything. What was your question?
I forgot.
It's fine.
Oh no, that now you're like hiring a business consultant.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So obviously I've learned throughout my 5 years of doing this that, there were times when I first started that I made it up. Like literally not made it up. Obviously there's other food bloggers,
right? But
I made up how my business is structured. So obviously when people first start reaching out, you're excited to even get free tacos. You're like, free tacos for a post? Are you joking me?
I don't have to buy food today.
Yeah, cool. Like that meant a lot to me.
Right.
And then you start to, see that, oh my gosh, I think I can start charging for this. So, I charge my first account this, and then to see that number
what was that feeling like when you first got paid?
Oh my god,
for doing something that you actually
oh my god, I have that check
still.
Yeah.
Like you just took a picture and deposited it.
No, I got it. So should I not have it still? No, wait, no.
You should. But you deposited the check, right?
Yeah, I screened. I did
the mobile deposit. Okay, yeah. That's what I thought you didn't catch out that check. I'm like, girl, we need to catch that right now.
This man loves money. I love it. I do too. Money's incredible. Money is more opportunity to give back.
Right.
I love
100%.
that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would take on, obviously people would ask me like, hey, what would it look like to be on the platform? And I'd be like, oh, it's going to be, this much. And then there were times where that was growing and growing, and I was in a survival mode, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, I'm juggling all these things. And I remember there was one time where there wasn't a restaurant that I went in to try the food. So that's first step in my process. Oh, actually, it's a discovery call to talk about what's your brand, what's your story, how did you hear about us? How did you work with social media marketing companies?
A discovery call with you.
With me,
still,
yeah. At this point, yeah. I don't get to say it.
Okay.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
We're getting there. Like I said, we're getting there.
Yeah.
And then I would go in and try these restaurants. And then if it were a go, it'd be a yes. But I remember there was one time where, this was back in the day, where I was like, oh, like I didn't love it. I didn't love it.
But I need the money.
But I was like, but I need the money.
Yeah.
Because I literally did.
Yeah.
But also I was just like, I'll make it work, because I mean, like, it's a great game day spot, right? Like, whatever. And I'll never forget the feeling I had in that moment of feeling so out of alignment. And I was like, I'm not going to do this again. I'm not going to do this again. It's not worth it. And I had to learn that. And I believe I'm watching other influencers and social media marketing companies, depending on their brand, kind of go through that.
Yeah.
And for us, staying true to the mission is number one. And that is making sure that it's a heck yes. Yeah. I ask everything. Hey, what's the story? Where do you guys source from? And I believe my background has set me up for that very well.
Right. So
which is really cool. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So we used to go in and schedule a time to eat at these restaurants to try the food. Before
saying yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we go in blind. We go in without any announcement to try the restaurant, because what was happening was
they were setting up. Prepping.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what happens? Community comes in, community doesn't get the same level.
Right.
Right. So for us, and I say us because it's in the works, but for us, it's key is to go in and get the same. And restaurants are tricky because consistency it can be very difficult.
Right.
You can go and have an incredible experience one night because you go at 5:00 on a Tuesday.
Yep. And
then you come back at Saturday at 7:30 and your food looks not like what it did at 5 p.m. on a Tuesday.
Right.
And that's just the industry, to be honest. I worked in the industry. I know the industry.
Yeah.
There are chefs working kitchen. It's a hard environment. So I also like to educate the community on showing grace with a restaurant.
As a matter of fact, I'll take this opportunity. You actually use that exact word. I remember you posted about this restaurant, and I'll say it because it's a good ending. It's a happy ending. But it's Cali, the new Colombian restaurant. I left a comment on the post. I was the one that commented that thing got like a couple hundred likes, and like they were appreciative. I was pretty much saying like they're brand new. They the meat was like 4 ounces. Like it was coming from the background of my wife being Colombian and me eating a bunch of Colombian food and understanding what it should look like. And they weren't there at the time. And I remember you responding. I'm pretty sure it was you now that we're talking, because your team is not big enough. So I'm sure you're wearing all the hats right now. Hopefully that'll change very soon here. But, I was honest about it and people enjoyed that honesty as well. I like
that you're honest.
But then you responded saying, they're brand new. They're like, I think it was opening week. So it's chaotic. You posted, and I'm sure that got an influx of people going in there. They're like, holy crap, we didn't expect this many people to show up, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So I did, I tipped them really well. And I kind of believe, and not too long ago, actually, this is how I say this happy ending. We went maybe a month ago, my wife and I was like, let's give them another shot. I think it's time. They should have figured things out. And boy, oh boy, I was pleased because now, I ordered the exact same plate on purpose to make sure.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
I wanted to see the difference.
That's awesome.
And taste the difference and all of that. And I don't know if they read all the comments or what. I'm sure they did.
That post went viral.
That one, yeah,
that post was one of my most viral posts.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the comments. That was one of my most viral. It was.
And did it get a lot of positive feedback?
It was both.
Negative.
There were both.
Mixture of both.
Sometimes it's like that.
Yeah.
You got to take.
Those are the ones that go viral. The one where conversations happen.
Yeah, conversations. Yeah. It's funny to scroll through those and see those comments.
Right.
Sometimes I'm like, whoa. I got to get out of here. This is getting
my energy is lowering every minute.
Like, whoa.
Yeah.
But they were aware of that, and it is risky. And we usually don't do this as highlight a restaurant in opening week. Oh, no. So we're not the business that highlights brand new.
Right.
Just because it takes some time to get the
quality control,
a lot of things,
consistency.
But I was so excited, and they were doing a big grand opening, and I know their marketing team, and I tried the food, and I really loved meeting the team, and they're all from Bogota, and I went to Colombia last year, and I had a great time.
Where'd you go? Medellin?
No, we went to Bogota and Cartagena.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, that was fun.
The
food.
It's incredible.
50 cents for a coffee. I was like, oh my gosh. I felt
because I went to Colombia not too long ago. I think it was maybe 2 years ago. And I remember coming back to the States. I'm like, I'm getting ripped off. Like I literally would have paid $5 for this shrimp and grits.
It's
You know what I mean?
wild. Yeah, the
You know?
fruit stands, so such fresh fruit.
Right.
Everything is just so fresh.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
But I say that to say that, it's cool that you're vetting out these restaurants and stuff like that to make sure that it also aligns within your mission and people that take your advice and actually trust you enough to go spend their hard-earned money in these restaurants that you're recommending,
right?
That they actually do receive the quality that you're actually showcasing.
Yeah.
Because then, of course, that goes back to your own personal brand too, that you would need to protect, and you're doing a great job at doing.
Thank you.
But being jealous of your personal brand, and I think that's also one of the reasons why you're probably striving so much, is because you're the face of it too, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I meant also, is like when you're vetting these restaurants and all of that, you're the face of Where to Eat Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
The client shouldn't be talking to you until like the very end.
Yeah.
Like the vetting process already happened and all of that, because your time is worth a lot more too. But I'm sure you're still in the phase of growing it and all of that.
Yeah, it's been a big learning lesson last year.
Yeah.
Last year was a huge learning lesson with business. So
of being available and stuff like that.
Yeah, being available. Just all lessons.
Business wise, right?
Business wise, right? So I'm just getting to the point where, like I said, I'm choosing to bring on a team. Yeah. Out of a place of excitement, out of a place of joy,
growth,
out of a place of growth, out of a place of impact.
Yeah.
Not because I feel like I have to, or for the wrong reasons of,
right.
Getting somewhere or whatever that may be. And the wrong reasons of like good intentions.
Right.
But the wrong reasons of, I gotta, save someone financially. It's like, no, like I am genuinely like so excited for this mission. I always have had a love for food in the restaurants and all of that. But it's like, what's your why? It always goes back to what's your true why? And my why right now is to impact positively as many humans as I can. Yeah. Just, through and inspiring people to bring their gift to the world. I think that's what we're really about. It's through food. The food is the vessel that people.
It's what connects us. Because everybody loves food.
It is what connects us.
But it's just a connecting point. Yeah. After that is the magic.
Right. And it's connecting eater to owner. That's what we do. And food is that. It's the connector.
Yeah. That's
and also inspiring those people who see these business owners go through trials and tribulations. And, it's not easy to bring a business to life. And then people getting inspired by that with their story and seeing themselves in that story. Yeah. To bring their potential business baby to life. Yeah. Because I believe we all have a gift.
Yeah. Now, these stories that you're referring to the business owners, the restaurant owners stories.
Yeah. I love the stories.
Are there stories really ever told though?
Not in a way that, not on video.
Where to Eat Charlotte podcast coming soon. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I ain't scared. It's coming. And if you try and do it, you can try and do it.
I ain't scared. I love it because it's honestly the best way for people to really truly connect with. Because I don't know the stories of any of the restaurants that I've gone to. Like even my favorite ones to this day. Because there's no... Obviously, number one, they don't have a social presence, most of them.
They don't, right?
Right? So they're not able to share that story. But if there's someone like you that has a client, someone part of the community that has an amazing story that you could use they could use your platform to showcase what their story is about, that it's not just about the tacos and the fajitas, but the fact that they came from Mexico.
Right. That's what I really
know what I'm talking
care about. Yeah. And I started to kind of put as much as that as I could in the reels, but the reels are so short.
The reels should lead to the long form that tells the full story.
Amen.
You know what I'm talking about? So we're going to make that happen this year.
The faces behind the places. And I've said that last year. I was like, we want to highlight the faces behind the places. Yeah. Because it means so much. Yeah. And we're people at the end of the day. We want to connect at a deeper level. We don't want to talk about... We think we want to talk about these surface level things. We don't. Our soul is craving deeper connection. Yeah. So 100%. How can we connect? If you go into Yunta and about the owners, you know that it's actually like a big family in there and what it took to actually bring that to life. The chef's dancing, you know, the cutlery is picked from here. Like that stuff matters.
100%.
So yes.
As people, we like to do business with people that we know, that we like, and that we trust. And that's why when people see your posts, they know, like, and trust you enough to go out to these restaurants.
Yeah.
So you're the face behind it, and that's why people do business with
the face behind the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you are basically a placeholder for these people in the current moment, right? Where we are able to make decisions on what we're going to eat based on what you suggest, but technically it should be based on the owners and their, you know, their story. But you're kind of like the bridge in the gap.
Exactly.
You know? You're the glue between the two.
I'm not a food critic.
You're not. So
Yeah,
you're just
I'm not a
showcasing
food
what's
critic.
there.
Right.
But we know, like, and trust you enough to go out and spend our money in the places that you suggest.
Right.
But if you're able to bring that element to the fact of, you know, people actually telling their stories behind their restaurants, I think it would be powerful and there would be more longevity, more repeat clients, because now it doesn't just become about how good the food is. It's like, oh no, I'm also helping this family, you know, stay together.
You're plugged in.
Yeah.
You're plugged into a deeper why. You're plugged into something deeper.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Yeah. So
That's
I
good.
think there's definitely something there for you to explore while you're building out your team. And I'm sure your creative juices are flowing right now too.
Yeah, thank you.
But the audio that you are talking about in the podcast can also be rolled with the food as it's happening. It's just like, it's going to be amazing.
Literally, Chef's Table is my favorite show on the planet.
Oh, is it really?
My favorite one.
There you go. Let me ask you a question. Let's say I'm in my 20s, I'm a single guy. I met a girl, think she's cute. I want to ask her on a date, right? But I don't have that much money. Like I just got out of college, let's say, or I'm in college, don't have that much money, but I want to show her a good time, and I don't want to make it come out to be like I'm cheap. Where should I take her? First date.
First date. Where
Like
should
good
we go?
impression, but doesn't break the bank. Here in Charlotte.
You know, this just came to mind. It's next to Lincoln Street Kitchen and Cocktails, Craft. Yeah, they do like great weekly specials, and it's such like a cute little environment, but it still has that neighborhood feel.
Okay.
And you're not going to break the bank because they have like, you know, I think it's like $6 charcuterie on Wednesdays or whatever it may be. Don't quote me, look it up.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Nice.
It's like a cute little spot. I think that'd be a great
That'd be
spot.
nice.
Or honestly, our breweries do a great job with food.
I hear a lot of people complaining about there's so many breweries though.
There are a lot of breweries. Yeah.
Like, how do you source the right ones?
Yeah, there's so many.
You've gone to a lot of them, I'm sure.
I have gone to some, but I haven't like really dove into the brewery scene. You know,
Got
I'm
it.
familiar with the big guys, but I do know which ones have better food because I did a poll on it back in the day, and
Okay.
everyone voted.
And what were those?
So Legion was one of the top
Okay.
brewers at Yancey.
Okay.
Yancey was a top one. People loved the food there.
Yeah.
As well as blanking now. Those two were definitely up there. Yeah, Legion and Yancey.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, another scenario. Let's say,
Yeah.
you know, now I'm, you know, early 30s,
Mm-hmm.
married, you know, second year anniversary is coming up,
Okay.
right?
30. Okay.
Second year anniversary. And, you know, going to take the wife to a nice dinner,
Mhm.
right? Have a little bit of more money to spend now, right? Like, you don't want to, you know, pay $500 for a meal,
Okay.
but you know, where should I take her?
So I actually just came across this spot in Matthews called The One,
The One?
Tapas and Bar. Yeah, it's like
Okay.
I got on my story and I raved about it because I was so excited.
Yeah.
It's like 7 tables in there. It's kind of in this would be like kind of a little gem, but it's like in like a shopping mall over where Lamb's Kitchen is in Matthews. And
Okay.
I'm actually doing a post on it today, and it blew me away. I was
Really?
like, this is great. 7 tables, super intimate, cute.
Mm.
You can see chef back there whipping
Yeah.
it out, and it's tapas, but it's like eclectic, all over the board tapas. But he's doing an exceptional job. Everything I had was great. There was not
And
one
the
thing.
tapas is what kind of food is
So
it?
he had my favorite on the table were the lamb chops.
Yeah.
Lamb chops were incredible. He did some bao buns,
Mm.
some little fried burrata balls. Everything was just so fresh. Some shrimp. The proteins were all cooked perfectly, and the cocktails were great. Locally owned. It
Nice.
was really good, and the vibe in there was so cute because it's literally 7 tables, this cute little bar.
Yeah.
Very intimate. Also, I think Everandolo and Noda, I think they do a really exceptional job. I also think that, Acqua e Vino is a really great romantic spot in Strawberry Hill.
Okay.
They're Italian and chef is from Italy, and
Yeah.
he does a great job as well. We used to sell to him at Inland. I don't know if he still buys from there, but he does a really great job. Very like intimate, you know, and depending on what kind of vibe you're going for,
Right.
if you want a more buzzin' vibe, then go to Yunsa or 60 Vines or, Barcelona or something in that regard. Stay 48, which I believe they do a great job.
Stay 48.
I believe so, and I think they have the best seafood in the city.
Oh wow.
Because they're buying the best quality.
Right.
I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Okay, another scenario. Last one.
Yeah.
So, it's date night. My wife and I do date nights every Friday. We try to, at least for the most part, we do.
Love that.
And we want to do dinner in the movies. Usually, what our go-to thing, like what we like doing. We usually have dinner before going to the movies. So a lot of people do the opposite, movies first, but I don't like to be hungry during movies. So
yeah, really.
And I don't want to spend on $8 popcorn when I know I'm going to eat good, right? So, dinner in a movie, obviously for weekly date night type spot, like Old Faithful, you're going to get the consistency right. Like you know that you can count on this spot to eat on a Friday night. What would you on a
Friday night consistent, going kind of like price friendly or
price friendly,
like
right? Because it's a weekly
movies.
thing, right? So nothing over the top, but quality stuff too.
Quality stuff.
Like good cocktails too.
Good cocktails. A lot of places with really good cocktails. I always find myself. Do you ever find yourself back at the same spots?
100%. My wife hates it. She's like, "Let's try something new." I'm
I
like,
know.
"No, I know that this works already." Imagine we go to that one spot that we wanted to try and it wasn't as good as the one that we've already tried. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I get it. We're a
Honestly,
good balance in that front.
That's good. Yeah. I mean, Yamazaru. I love that place
Yamazaru.
so much. Yeah. It's sushi in South End, and just like they just do a good job. Every time I've went, I've had a great experience. It just kind of like came to mind. And depends like what neighborhood you're going to be in.
Right.
It's like every neighborhood has its own
Feel.
gems. It does. It has its own feel for sure. See, I mean, Plaza Midwood has some gems, and I love that neighborhood too. It's really getting up there. I just put together like a whole Plaza Midwood list. Are you guys pizza fans?
Yes, love it.
You like
Inicio
pizza?
is my favorite.
You like Inicio? Have you had Librettos?
No.
Librettos and Valentine is definitely really good.
Librettos is also like
He's from New York.
Napolitan. Oh, it's New York style?
Yeah, he's from New York. It's definitely like when I think of Librettos, it's like a local watering hole. Like you go in and it looks like it's out of a movie.
Really?
Almost just like that. Like you go in kind of like pub style a little bit, kind of out of a movie, but they do it right. They're one of my clients, and I love them so much. Carlos, he's originally from New York.
Nice.
He's in there making the
He
dough.
has a New York accent.
He works in New York for literally like over 13 years.
Yeah.
And he's the fastest you'll ever see making a pie. You
Really?
could time him. It's incredible.
Wow.
So he's very adamant about the way they do it in New York, and Mike hasn't changed the recipes. Everyone's like, "Oh, is the water from New York?" I'm like, I don't know if the water's from New York. I don't know if the water's from New York. Like that's the comments. Is the water from New York? Because that's when
that's
it's
what
real.
makes it.
I'm just like, pizza's one of those. If you want to get the most amount of comments and the most people going at it, post about pizza. But Librettos does a good job. Kind of like, go grab a slice, and they have pasta. I got to try the pinwheels the other day, which were so good. The freaking tiramisu. Also, Intermezzo is a staple in that neighborhood. Have you been to Intermezzo?
No.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's an old restaurant. I forget how old it is. But Bruno, the owner, he's an incredible guy. He's actually from Serbia. And they are doing some great food over there. And it's kind of same concept. I love home, like, kind of like that. Yeah. Just, it's comfortable. So when my family comes into town, we go to Intermezzo. Okay. My parents don't really like I took them to like small plates, and my dad's like, beets? Really? Like, we're from Ohio. I grew up on, Midwest food and I grew up on fast food and really like learned and grew my palate throughout the years of working at Inland and everything. But my dad's like, beets?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not eating a beet. Like, why is that its own dish? And then he'd be like, cucumbers in another cocktail? Can I get a drink without cucumbers? So like that was just like Intermezzo was just comfortable for my family in a way of just like good service, good food. And it's just solid.
I could already see my wife literally watching this podcast and writing down.
Oh my gosh. Intermezzo. And like I said, their date night vibe, it's more just like you feel cozy. Yeah. And I like that.
Now you mentioned fast food, you know. What is your fast food, like guilty pleasure fast food spot, right? Like my wife's is Wendy's. Like she loves the Wendy's nuggets.
I grew up on Wendy's.
Did you?
Yeah, sweet and sour sauce or barbecue. Yes. That's what you'd ask her. What is she? What does she like?
Barbecue. Yeah. So, but what is your go-to like?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Be honest.
So I'm gonna be honest. Mom and Dad, they're not gonna like this. I ate fast food every day for a long time, pretty much. We would cook occasionally.
Really?
Not much. You'd grill out. So I remember there was one time I ate Chipotle, and you could call that fast food or not, but I ate Chipotle every day for 2 weeks straight.
Wow.
Yeah. So I grew up in that way. I would say.
Thank God you were an athlete.
Right? I know.
Oh my goodness.
Everyone's like, did she even eat all that food? I can. Yeah. When I do.
Yeah. I
throw down.
Yeah.
Some restaurants have seen it.
Like you'll eat a whole pie.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm not kidding. I was like, no, she doesn't. I'm like, yeah, I can, but I choose.
You should do a time lapse. Eating a whole pie.
I choose not to because it's not good for you.
It's not good.
Right. I'm not trying to like do that to myself. So anywho, I would say something that'd be so nostalgic would be like Rallies. Like a Rallies chicken sandwich with like cheddar cheese fries or an Arby's they had Italian subs at Arby's at one point and I was obsessed with mozzarella sticks and a chocolate milkshake.
Wow.
Let it roll.
Calorie galore.
Oh my gosh. Every day we just what fast food we want today.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. I had a root beer float kick 2 weeks straight, root beer float every day.
And I'm sure you were going hard in like volleyball.
Oh my gosh, like 4 hours a day.
So you could, I
did track too.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Okay, so that sustained you through that time. It was like you needed that calorie intake too.
Yeah, but as I've evolved, my health journey is really key. I'm extremely health conscious, and I don't bring.
I've seen that.
Yeah, I don't bring that side to where to eat too much because I really love the balanced living. So really, telling people about balanced living and what that actually looks like and what kind of mentality is that. So I've had to come a long way from going from eating whatever I want to not, I don't work out like I used to at all. So, and, not eating fast food because I believe health is wealth and health is the reason I can sustain this energy. So I see some influencers and social media people and they're eating all the things and doing all the things all the time. And there's events all the time. So like if you say, I'm going to go to this grand opening, I'm going to go to this media event. I used to say yes to all those things. It will wear you out.
Yeah.
Now I am just hyper aware of what I'm consuming, how much I'm consuming.
Yeah.
All of it. Cause I get that question probably the most. Do you even eat the food?
Really?
And
I would ask for the most part you do, right?
So
you'll at least try it, each one.
Yeah. Like so I always tell people there's a process when we're trying restaurants, when we're going in to try the restaurant. Like I went to the one to try it.
Yep.
That's when we're trying everything. We're eating.
Yep.
But when we're at shoots, when I'm shooting, I try not to eat because one, I've already had the food.
Yep.
It's a shoot. It's a scheduled shoot. And I hate, because I used to do it all the time, I hate eating in a state of cortisol. I hate it because it just like, it's not good for you.
Right.
And it hurts my stomach. So like I don't usually eat when I shoot.
Right.
If I do, I like have to sit down, take 3 deep breaths and but so I'm very transparent with the community in that way.
Yeah.
Yes, we get paid. Yeah. They're vetted. We go in and try them first. And then the shoots, I typically am not, I usually give it back to the staff.
Yeah.
It's never wasted. Give it back to the staff because they always
I have an idea.
Yeah.
Download.
Yes.
So imagine you doing a giveaway. Have you ever done giveaways in like Where to Eat Charlotte?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have one running right now.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
What is it?
Crunkleton, $200 gift card.
Oh, I love
What
that.
would be a good? Oh my gosh, you're about to hit it with my mom's idea. My mom had this idea. Go. What is it?
Do a giveaway, and in one of the shoots, you give away for one of your community members to come and do the shoot with you.
Exactly what my mom said.
Your mom is a genius. Not that I'm not.
She's very intuitive.
Yeah. I think that would be amazing because not only are you able to give the reactions during the shoot of an actual person that's in the community, but you also get to connect with the community at the same time by bringing someone that normally would have never probably even met you.
She's going to laugh because I never listened to her.
And now you're going to do the thing.
Every time.
Not because a stranger told you you're actually going to do it, but when your mom tells you, I hear it.
Every time.
I could hear
She's
it.
going to be like, I told you that. I'm like, you only hear things
right
when you're ready.
Right.
You only hear things
That's
when
true.
you're ready. Your nervous system actually can only hear it matched to the emotional state. I literally heard this yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so don't get me
really
on that
good.
route. Yeah.
Because you'll hear an advice at the wrong time.
You
and it doesn't mean that it's the wrong advice. It's just the wrong time.
You're not ready to hear it.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I heard
that.
it.
I love that.
I
that
heard
idea.
that.
I hope you.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, that'd be super fun.
That'd be cool.
Because you get to meet like people in the community, your followers and stuff.
I have got to meet. Not often,
No.
but when I do
people recognize you now on the streets?
The streets.
Yeah.
The streets.
Yeah.
Every day.
Every day.
All day.
You feel like a celebrity?
Sure.
Like a local celebrity?
I've gotten used to it.
Yeah.
I'm very well known.
Yeah.
But it doesn't I don't know, just in me.
How does it feel for you? Like, do you
feels,
like it?
I feel it feels very natural. It
Yeah.
feels like I was literally
You're
like
in the right place.
built for this. Yeah. I don't feel out of like alignment at all. It feels like
Yeah.
because I just am me. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, I've never met like an influencer or somebody in that realm who I've met and they're the same as they are online.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm just being me.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool that I have the ability to do that.
And be yourself
Mhm.
and all that. No,
because the camera can come on someone and they can change.
Right.
I've witnessed
100%.
it by recording people.
Right. Same. I've seen it behind the scenes. People are divas.
Mm.
But anyways, that's for a different conversation. That's for Anyways, so no, I think that would be a hit.
Cool. I love that. So bring a community. So do a giveaway where the community member gets to come to one of the shoots.
Yep.
And get to experience it and get to eat.
Yeah.
They can bring probably a friend, so it's not just like them like eating and watching me shoot.
That too.
Yeah.
Or it could be just them.
Okay.
Because it would be an intimate time between you guys too. You get me? But it could be depending on the spot.
Mm.
If it's like a nice date vibe or whatever, yeah, maybe you and your significant other come and try this food with us type of thing. That would be cool, depending on what it is. If it's a fast food joint, like, no, let's hang out, eat burgers or whatever. I think that would be cool because you also be able to get the reactions and validate what you're trying to say. And it's not just coming from you. It's that social proof of, okay, no, this is someone that's one, not that they don't consider you one of them, but also
I get it.
from this
Adds
lens.
another element.
Yeah, because they obviously know that you're getting paid for this, right?
Right.
So it just adds that trust factor and it'll elevate you even more because they're going to start saying the same thing that you're saying. It's like, you heard it from them, not from me. And it's like, I think that'll be a hit.
I think I'd want to watch that.
Yeah, I definitely want to. Like, I'd
be curious.
Refreshing every day till this happens. Well, Miranda, I don't want to take too much more of your time. I had an amazing time. Hopefully this is not the last time that you come on the podcast. And of course, we'll keep in touch. I would love to help in whatever way that I can, whether it's like studio here or with, your business, whatever. I know that you're kind of just building all that out and I love to live in that space. So let us know where can people find you?
People can find us on Instagram at Where to Eat Charlotte. Website's launching in a couple weeks.
Let's go.
www.wheretoeatcharlotte.com. I'm so excited.
You got that domain?
Yeah.
Let's go. That's good.
I know. We got all the domains.
Let's go.
Where to Eat.
Are you on TikTok
Everywhere.
and any of these?
I'm not into TikTok. We're on Facebook. I think maybe YouTube in the works.
Okay.
I think I could see that, once. Here's my thing. I try not to overwhelm.
Yeah.
Especially like in these stages. Just, I get it. You need to post on other platforms, but for me, I'm just like about intentionality.
Yeah.
And
it's repurposing at the end of the day. It's the same. It's the same content. You just spreading it out everywhere else. It's not much more work.
Yeah, that'll be when you know, everything's
social
thrown
media
out.
manager coming soon.
Right, exactly.
I hear you.
So Instagram right now is mainly where you'll find us.
And
but-
if it's let's say one of these brands or restaurants that want to work with you, should they email
So-
you or?
So yeah, the website will have a contact us.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, which is great. Like
So by the time this episode launches, that should be up.
okay, well
Right?
then go to the website.
It's in a week or what? That it'll be
We're
ready.
estimating a couple weeks. I don't want
Okay.
to put like a hard time frame on it.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple
Cool.
weeks. Maybe 2 or 3. Maybe next week. Who
All
knows?
right. So yeah, if you don't see the website in her bio, make sure to go.
You can email. Yeah,
Email.
it's in my bio. You can shoot me an email.
Well, thank you so much once
yeah,
again.
this was amazing.
We love you over here. We hope to see you a lot more often, and I can't wait to try all the different places that you suggest that we go to.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Thank you.
You're amazing.
Thank you. Bye.